Hello friends, welcome to part 11 of the React tutorials for beginners. So in this part we are going to learn about the lifecycle methods. So lifecycle methods are only available in the class based components. So what is this lifecycle method? So React actually goes through several different stages that a React program. So React provides us with a special lifecycle method so that we can add something to them. We can add some functionality when those stages comes. So that's for lifecycle method. So they are not available in functional component, but as you know, functional component had gone through a radical changes with the approach, with the invention of hooks. So but hooks have something similar, but with use effect and other hooks, but it takes a totally different approach, and we will learn about it when we go through our hooks. So it is very important to do lifecycle method, because as I told earlier, still most of the code is in class based component. So let's get started. So the lifecycle method, so there are different phases of the lifecycle method. One is the mounting phase, in which the instance of the component is created and inserted into the DOM. Second is the updating phase. Say the updating phase is when the component is been re-rendered as a result of the either the change in the props or the state. So whenever you change a state through this dot set state, whenever a component receive a props from a parent component or a child to a parent, as we have seen, so this updating phase will run. Then we have the unmounting state, when the component is been removed from the DOM, means when we go to some other page, so that will be removed from the DOM. So that is unmounting. And then there is error handling. So when some error occurs during rendering in the lifecycle method or any child component, so this error handling method will call. So the first two methods, that's mounting and updating, they are more important, and then this you will see in almost all React projects. Unmounting, yeah, sometimes we see, and sometimes we have to give some methods here. So unmounting you can see, but error handling I have not seen much in any React project, and most of the time I have seen mounting and updating only. Unmounting also in some cases I have seen in production level project. So after that we will after that yeah, lifecycle method names. So we will learn about the lifecycle method names. So mounting the lifecycle methods are constructor, static get derived state from props, render, component read. And one more thing I want to tell, that React lifecycle methods has also gone through a major changes in the past 8 years. So if you are looking into some old code, there will be some method which are not mentioned here, because this is what it is, it is sort of new code after 16.4 React. So there were some old method like component will mount, so component will receive props. So those things you will not see here, because they are they are all retired by React, and it is not advisable to use that. Although the old code can still use that, it is not like React had gone away with that. So if you want to learn about them, you can learn from the other internet resources, but they are not used right now, not even advisable to use them. Okay, so after that, mounting, constructor state, derived state from render we have already seen, and component did mount. So we'll go through this method individually. Okay, updating again, then there is a get derived state from props is there. Then there is a method should component update, again render is there, and get a snapshot before update, and component did update. In unmounting we have component will unmount, and in error handling we have static get state from error, and component did catch. Okay, so the mounting phase, we'll first look at the mounting phase. So the mounting phase lifecycle methods are constructor, then so they all happens in order. These are all lifecycle methods. So the first is constructor, second is a static get derived state from props, then it is render, then it is component did mount. Okay, so And now we will go through constructor. See, first we will learn about the theory and then we will see a practical example. So the first mounting lifecycle method which we are going to learn is constructor. So constructor we have already seen, means we till now this is the 11th part, we have seen constructor a lot in a class based component. So constructor is a special function which is called whenever a new component is created. And one more thing, constructor is always called only once. This is also a very important thing. So the constructor is perfect for initializing state and binding event handler. So we have done both of them, initializing state with the this state variable and binding event handler. So if the event handler is there, there is a way to bind it, that this dot that event handler equal to this dot event handler dot bind this. So that method we are talking about. And don't do HTTP request from a constructor. So HTTP request we have still not seen, but this is a major thing of any production level project in which you have to do HTTP request, and from a backend you will get the data. So those HTTP requests you should not do from a constructor. So in constructor we need to call a special function superprops, as we have already seen. This is required to have access to this dot props in our component. So if you don't give superprops, you will not get access to this dot props, it will throw error. Okay. Yeah, and the last point which I have already told, can set state directly with this was the state only in the constructor. So we can do this only in the constructor. Then we will look into the render method. So I missed this, get derived state from props. So we will look into this first. So get derived state from prop, this is actually a very rarely used lifecycle method. It is used when the state of the component depends on the changes in the props over time. So this is used at that time, and we will not see it much right now. So this, one of the main thing is that it needs to return new state or null. So when we are going to use it now, we are going to see a small example in which we are going to just use it. So we need to return something, either a new state or the null. And one thing is there which I have not mentioned, it's a static method, so it cannot change anything. So you have to return the state, you cannot do the this dot set state in that. Okay, and again, do not do HTTP request from this method. So the next thing is that is the render method, which we have seen a lot, the render method. So it is the only required method. It is required, everything else we have not even used till now. So that means it is not required in a React program. Our React programs work fine without those things. Okay, so read props and state and returns JSX. So it will read the props like this dot set state and props, and it always returns a JSX. So it is one of the most important thing in any React component based component, React class based component. Okay, so the thing which we should not do is don't change state, don't do a this dot set state inside it, or interact with the DOM with this. Yeah, and one more thing which we will learn later on, there will be many special cases in which we have to interact with the DOM. As I have told earlier that we use virtual DOM in React, and we don't actually interact with the DOM that much. But there are many cases, and always in a big production level projects you have to interact with the DOM. So we have methods for that, to interacting with the DOM. It is not advisable, but it is required. So in those cases you don't do it through render, and also don't do HTTP request from the render. Okay, and one of the main thing which we are soon going to see is that children components lifecycle methods are executed after the render. So all the children component lifecycle method, including everything, it will be called after the render only. And next is component did mount. So this is the last method in our lifecycle, in our mounting phase. Okay, so This is a very important method. So this method will be called, this will also be called only once. It is invoked after the components and its children are rendered in a DOM. So if it's the component have a children also, they will also be rendered first before this is called. So if our component is the parent component, suppose it is the app component, so this will be the last method to be called, and but it is the perfect place to interact with the DOM and also to do HTTP request. Okay, we'll see more about it later on. So after that, children component methods are also executed after render. Okay, yeah, we are writing this only, that what I have told. Children component methods are also executed after the render, means before this method. Okay, so let me now come back to the code and we'll see them. So this code I have, this is from the previous part. So let me comment them out. Okay, so I have commented it out, and I will create a new component, parent life parent lifecycle.js. Let me increase the font size. Yeah, this is RCE. This is a class based component. So I have created a class based component. After that, let me create a constructor also. We'll start with the constructor r const, and we'll have a state variable also right now, but we are going to not use it. We are going to use it later on when we are going to see the updating phase. So because the updating phase is only triggered when we receive some props or we change the state, so we will change the state to see the updating phase. Okay, so the name, parent life cycle. Yeah, and how we will see what is running, we will put console.log in everything. Okay, clg parent constructor. Then after that, after the constructor, we will have the static get derived. What is the camel case? So D S F P are capital, and we get two parameters in it, props and state. Get derived state from props. I made some mistake here, it should be here, and then clg parent lifecycle. Let me have this right, the spelling, so it's better to copy paste here. Oh, it is bigger. Let me increase this size. Okay, and we have to return null in it, so I'm returning null. After this, component did mount, actually render run, but we have to write everything before the rend. After this, this runs at the last, as I have told. Parent lifecycle, component did mount, and now in the render, let me have a h1, because you have to show something, so I'm just showing this, and then clg parent lifecycle render. Let me save it. So now to use it, let me go here, I have to import it also. I have included it in the app.js. Everything else is commented out. So I will soon put this in GitHub also, so that you can see all of this. Parent lifecycle. So it has been shown, and now let me come here and let me open the console, because everything is in console. See, parent constructor, parent first the parent constructor has been run, then the parent get derived straight from props, then render, and then the component did mount. But there is a bit of issue which you might be seeing here. If you understand console.logs from, you can see this 2 means that it was actually run twice. So why this was run twice? So this was run twice because there is a sort of bug in the, it will not do much harm if I leave it like this even in production code, but there is a sort of bug in the React after React 16.13, and it was introduced because of the strict mode in React. So I then googled it and find it out that it is due to some strict mode, and I have found the solution on Stack Overflow. So this is due to, see, someone has asked, this is due to the strict mode. So what I need to do, I need to solve it. I need to remove the strict mode from my app, and it is that strict mode is not that much required, because in all the old apps I have seen, we have never used strict mode. So when I was creating this app, I was also thinking that why this strict mode is there. So if you remember from the second tutorial, when I was teaching, in the second tutorial I told that our app starts from index.js. okay, so this react.strict mode is there. Actually I have never seen this react.strict mode in the earlier codes. So this was introduced in 16.13, and the way to do is to just remove it, this strict mode. So let me remove it. Okay, I think we can have it on the same line also. Let me save it. See, now everything had come once. First the constructor, then get derived straight from props, then render, and component did mount. So this was a small thing which I wanted to do. So now we will first check our updating methods, updating what happens when it get updated. So we will first check those, and then we will see it in the code. Okay, so let me go back here and let me start my slide. Okay, so yeah, so updating lifecycle methods. So updating lifecycle methods are, again, there is a static get derived state from props is there, then there is should component update is there, and then the render, then get a snapshot before update, and the last the component did update is there. So this component did update is again a very important method. Let us move ahead then. Component first, the static get derived state from props, which we have already seen. This method is called every time the component is re-rendered. As I have told earlier, this is a rarely used method, and don't do HTTP request from this method. After that, it is should component update. So this I have seen sometime been used because this is used for performance relating. Sometime the React does so much rendering that it is not advisable to do rendering and every time. So we use this should component update method so that the rendering doesn't happen every time. So this method is mainly used for performance optimization, and this decide whether the rendering will be done or not. So again, don't do HTTP request from this method. So the next is render, which we all know about. It is a required method. Read props and state and return JSX. Don't change the state or interact with the DOM or do a HTTP request from the render. Then the method is get a snapshot before update. So this method is called right before the changes from the virtual DOM are to be reflected in the DOM. So React does this internally, the virtual DOM to the real DOM thing. So this is used to capture some information from the DOM. Example, if you want to capture the thing like reading the user scroll position. So I have seen this also in some project. This we need to read the user scroll position. So this method will be used. So this method will either return null or a value. So and the returned value will be passed as a third parameter to the next method, which we will see it in the code what it is. So the next method, and a very important method, is component did update, called after the render is finished in that re-render cycle. The re-render only cycle it is called. So use thus as we have to, as I have told that this get a snapshot before update, it passes a third parameter. So this third parameter has been used here in this component did update. We use this third parameter. So and this also can be, this is also can be used to do the HTTP request. So let us now go back to our hello world program, and we will create a new file or a new component called child lifecycle.js. Let me copy everything from here to here, because most of the thing will be like same, only the name will get changed. So I have changed everywhere. Get derived state from prop, get component did mount. So this all will also be there. So after that, let me include this in the parent lifecycle. So let me wrap this in a fragment. I want this also to be shown. let me have this in the same line. Then I will wrap this in a fragment. Child life cycle, hope it is included. Yeah, it is. It sometimes do this auto import, and sometimes I have to do it. I don't know when it do the auto import. Okay, so I have saved it. Okay, so you can see this. So right now I have not added any updating lifecycle method, just you can see this. As I've told earlier, this after render only this child methods will be run. So when I in my parent I am at render, then this child lifecycle method will be run. Then see this, after this constructor get derived state from props, render, and component did mount at the last, and at the last the parent lifecycle method component did mount run after everything is done. So this is very important to understand. As I've told this earlier also, this component did mount run, parent will run at the last. So this is something. And then now we are going to add the other methods which are in the lifecycle. Okay, so let me go here. No, we will include this in the parent. Okay, so the first thing which I am going to include is the should component update. So three things are remaining: should component update, get a snapshot before update, and component did update. Okay, so let me write it here only, it should be good. So should component update. Oh, it is giving me right now. Should component update clg parent lifecycle and should component update. Next one is get snapshot before update. It is also coming, and it will take priv props and priv state clg and then the last method is some of the method we already have, so no need to write them again, because this will be again called in the updating lifecycle method. So the next one is component did update lifecycle method and component did update. Okay, so we have done all those things. Now, as I've told earlier, this lifecycle methods will run only when the state is changed or we get props. So let us change the state. We have made this state for a reason. So let me come here and let me do button. Okay, do not come like this. Button change state button on click equal to arrow function, and this, yeah, I can, this is actually function running. So what I can do, I can directly do the this.setState here also. Instead of calling a function and doing the this.setState there, I can directly do it here also. This.setState. If it is a small thing, it's better to do it here in that same line. Name the web dev. Okay, and let me save it. And now I have this change state. So what it done, it again run it from the initial render. So let me close that initial render. Now I will run it, click the change state, so this will also get changed, and so we will know that it ran. Okay, should component update returned undefined instead of a boolean value. Okay, we missed some of the things, as it's great we got this error. Should component update, as I've told earlier, it should return something. So it should actually, it renders everything. So if it doesn't returns true, nothing else will run. So return true. So I forgot to do another thing also, and that is return null. Here also we need to do let me save it. So this is the initial one, and then let me do the change state. So see how it is working. Parent lifecycle get derived state from props, then parent lifecycle should component update, then the render, then after the render the child methods will run. Child get derived state from props, child render, and then after that again parent get snapshot before update, and parents component did update. So we can have these three methods in our child also. So but it's okay, but if you don't give the order, order will again be the same, because everything from the child will run, then only after that this. Okay, what let me have this in, instead of talking, let me have this here also. After component did mount. Okay, so I have saved again. So this initial mount, these methods don't run. Should component update get a snapshot before call, and component did update. It only run when you change the state. So let me change the state again. So I have changed the state. So this is the complete, means get derived state. When I change the state, get derived state from props run, then should component update, then the render runs, then the child get a derived state from props run, then should component update, then the render, then the child get a snapshot before update run, then the parents get a snapshot before update run. See, this is very important thing to see. And then after it again come back to the child, component did update, and component did update run. So this is the everything here. So unmounting, we have one thing left out, the unmounting phase, although we will not see it, but let us complete it, the unmounting phase also, and we will call it complete. So component will unmount is there in the unmounting phase. So this method is called immediately after the component is unmounted or destroyed. It is used for cancelling network requests or removing event handler, which when we call the DOM we have something, or we can remove the event handler also. And again, do not call this.setState in this method. And the error handling phase we will not see in this, but we'll see, because it's a big topic, we'll see it as a separate video. So hope you learned something about the lifecycle method. You have to go through them again to learn more about it. So go through this video again and again, so you will learn more about it. Okay, so let's wrap up this video and see you soon in the next video.